Hey yo, what's up? You know what it is? It's the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D, live on Team GRF TV. I'd like to welcome you guys back to another installment of Triple the God Speaks on. And yo, RWBY Volume 5, Chapter 5, Necessary Sacrifice. An apt title, given how it is, I'm finna go with this review. Because this episode was actually one big question asked over and over again, and the branch of that question. That question and its branch is simply this: what is it that we ask of ourselves, and what is it that we ask of each other? Because this episode was full of it, the branch of questions that come from those two questions. And after watching this episode, I just felt that, just to bring some realness to it, to bring that question and give you guys something to think about. Well, let's go through the episode and see how this question was asked, and how is it that these characters deal with this question. Let's start where our episode starts. We start with Blake and we start with Sun, and it's like they still trying to sit up here and get people from the land of menagerie to be like, yo, we need to go sit up here and we need to defend Haven, because if we don't, things are bad now. They are going to get worse. And Blake makes the point after they go through the whole rigmarole of trying to ask people and getting nowhere, of a question and stuff that I have brought up in the past when it comes to my dealings with people and stuff. Just because you don't think it affects you, it probably affects you more than you think it does. Because what does the fall of Haven mean to you now? We sitting up here chilling. We living in menagerie. And again, Blake brought up the point of a lot of these people came to this island to get away from it all. I don't want to be judged because I'm a fauna. I don't want to be treated differently because I'm different. I'm through with you. I'm through with your BS. I'm through with all that. It's time to sit back, relax, and chill with my own kind. What human beings do, what the faunas do, has nothing to do with me, because we over here on menagerie and we chilling. Ain't nothing happening to us because we far away from the conflict. It's true what they say. The farther away you think you are from something, the closer you actually are in reality to it. Understanding and knowing that this is indeed the case of whatever it is, when Haven falls, and you know for the sake of the narrative it will, you wish you would have listened. You wish you would have listened and understood about learning how to take it and understanding that, yes, it affects me. What can I do to help? But I'm sitting up here again just to bring some realness to it. I can understand how they feel. It's like, yo, like I said, just like I just said, I don't want to be judged for being different. I don't want to be judged because of how I look or whatever the case may be. I came here to be with my own people. It's like they understand the struggle just like I understand the struggle, and what they do is their business. And again, and it's like, and a lot more of this episode is going to be about how I started this, about that question, about what we ask of ourselves and the branch of what we ask of each other. We get a lot more of this when Blake and Sun sit down and they have this intimate conversation of the people who Blake have been involved with, and how Adam has been so many things, but they were all lies to her. Because a lot of times you have to dig for the truth. The surface is what the word is. The surface. And it's easy for us on the surface to be anything we want to be. Train it enough, you can be anybody you want. I'm like, look at the medium in which we are having this conversation. The internet. With the way that anonymity is or could be, depending on who and who you don't piss off, you can be whatever you want. But be careful at the surface on both ends. Because sometimes what's under there is not meant for you to see. And sometimes seeing it could be a lot more dangerous than not even knowing that a surface even exists. And that's what I honestly got from Blake's conversation with Sun about the people she's met. And it's like, And she brought up Ilya, and we will talk about her a little bit later. So I don't want to talk about her right now because I've got something special for her towards the end of this. But just to hear her talk about RWBY and Weiss and Yang the way she did about who they are and what they represent to her and what Adam was to her. And having Son ask those hard-hitting questions because he kind of danced around it a little bit. He kind of danced around who he was. And I think at this point, Son understands the relationship between Blake and Adam and how it wasn't the way that Blake really described it, because love will make you do strange things. It will. It'll make you do things you never thought about doing, making sacrifices you never ever thought you'd make. But that's how powerful that emotion is. And when you fall out of it and you sit, and you can take this from me, from just true nature, from somebody who's been there and done that, you look at what you did when you was in love, and then when you out of it, and you sit up here, smack yourself in the head like, why did I do that? And I really think that a lot of this leading up to this Adam situation with Blake, and we'll talk a little bit more about him later, is when you love and how much you love with, what you'll do when you're out of love, when you see the person from beyond the surface, who they really are, no lies, no nothing. So I really appreciated that whole little opening scene with Son and Blake and them trying to get everything together, because it's really setting up for this tidal wave of BS that's about to hit Menagerie. And it's like, you think it's nothing now, just wait. Just wait till it becomes real, because if you sit up here and you wait for the problem to hit your doorstep, it'll be too late to solve it. And for the sake of narrative, this is how it has to be. The people on Menagerie have to suffer because you failed to listen. And you got a lot of people in the cut working completely and utterly against everything it is to try to keep the peace between fonts and human beings and all that stuff that goes in that. With that being said, let's go to a different branch of the same question with Rosso. That's what I've dubbed that ship as. Leave me be. Alright? We got RWBY and we got Oscar, the nigga who farms nigglets. And Oscar's training and RWBY's like, yo, won't you come to dinner? You know what I'm saying? Come and relax. This leads into a branch of a question of what do we ask of ourselves in a different way when it becomes personal and emotional, when we deal with what we deal with. Because again, this is for us, the fans, too, because everything RWBY talked about, we went through it with her. Just like she lost Penny, and she lost all of those things and lost Pyrrha and everything that happened in the fall of Beacon. We lost those characters too. And it was the pick-me-up that was RWBY Chibi that brought us back up after having our world torn asunder by having these characters lost. But losing those characters reminded us about how real war is, how you make those sacrifices. And you have Oscar sitting up here just legitimately questioning her in that simple question of how do you? Through everything you've been through, how do you? And in that, it's what do we ask of ourselves emotionally? Because it's true what they say. You are not defined by what happens to you. What will be written in the history book after what happened to you is how you deal with, and that is how you are defined by what happens to you. So here's the question within that question. Given everything that RWBY has been through up until this point, this volume, this chapter, what defines Ruby Rose? She's our hero. We've seen her at her highs, and we have seen her lower than every spectrum in between. She's still there fighting through everything she's been through. She's lost people. Her sister done lost her arm. She's separated from the rest of her team, and she's doing everything she can to make it work. knowing and unknowing that you are the key to everything and not even know it. That giving up, in her case, is paramount to complete failure. The world will suffer if she stops moving. And she more or less made that point and trying to get Oscar to understand why he's sitting up here trying to deal with all of this. Because, again, Oscar ain't been with Aspen long, but it's like having this responsibility of getting in the fight when the only thing you wanted to do was farm nigglets, and now you've gone from farm nigglets to getting ready to train for a war that you had no idea existed yesterday. What is it that we ask of ourselves? Or in Oscar's case, what is it that we ask of ourselves when we aren't who we are? Oscar isn't Oscar anymore. He wasn't Oscar once Oscar died and his soul and whatever was left of his whatever was transferred to Oscar. You aren't you as you once were. When you got up and you farmed her nigglets, everything was okay. Having Oscar a part of you has completely changed your dynamic. So it is legitimately the question of what do we ask of ourselves when our dynamics in our own life change. And that's what that whole thing was. More of what do we ask of ourselves and what do we ask of each other when we ask about what it is we ask of ourselves. And that is what that's supposed to be. And that's honestly what that scene represented to me was RWBY at acceptance at what she's lost and how that fuels her to understand what it is she's fighting for. Because what she's asking for of herself is to be strong, even though when it's easier to give up and be weak, that's what we have to ask of ourselves. And that's something that ultimately everybody in this war, on whatever side you stand on, and we're going to talk about this more in just 2 seconds when we shift to our last scene of this episode, of what do we ask of ourselves, and then what do we ask of each other when we ask for what we ask for in ourselves. Those losses changed RWBY. Having Oscar as a part of your soul has changed Oscar in a mysterious and fantastic way that we still don't understand yet. But sometimes all you can do is try. Sometimes the best thing to do is to get up, try, get knocked down, and stand back up again. It's something that the best you can do, and trust me, those two that before they get to stand triumphantly, they're going to get knocked down a whole bunch. And they'll be defined by how they stand back up after getting knocked down. That much you can trust. Our last scene of the day, we got Corsac and Finnick doing what Corsac and Finnick do. Dirty work. And I mean dirty work as in the dirty work. They sit up here and they summon Ilya. And this is the part I've been waiting for. What is it that we ask of each other? Because that's what we are. You got Corsac and Finnick, just to get straight to the point. Adam want the Belladonna's dead. But Blake, bring her to me. You need to get close to them and you need to put this work in. You could see the look on Ilya's face when this was asked of her. Because again, I've talked about this when we were talking about the Blake trailer, when we've talked about her interactions, and and I remember exactly what we talking about. And if you just joined us, let me remind you, the thin line between friend and foe. That line is kicked sand on, it's warped, it's twisted every day. Because there are people who have to stand on both sides of those lines to survive. And trust me, I've known those people. At some point in my life, I've been that person. And I'm willing to live on wax to admit that. But here we have Ilya. You want to do what you think is the right thing. And again, just as beauty is in the eye of the beholder, the right thing is a dangerous thing in the wrong hands. Because what you think the right thing is, with the right person, with the right temperament, with the right questions to get in your head, the right thing that you think is the right thing can be twisted in a way and you don't even know what's going on until it's too late. And that's Ilya right now. You sit up here, it's time for you to put some work in. You sitting up here like, well, they wouldn't have found out about this, or that, or whatever. It don't matter. We need you to put this work in. Adam done what it do. Sienna shit rap. This is what he want done. He need you to put that work in. What's up? She accepts. Real hesitant about it. But she accepts. Because see now, we need to twist it around. Just turn the camera just a little bit. Let's look at Ilya for a second, right? What is it that we ask of ourselves? What is it for real that we ask of ourselves here? You sit up here and you've had this weird back and forth with Blake ever since she came back to Menagerie, and you've tried to warn her like you need to get off the counter. Shout out to B-Chick. You need to get off the corner. Blake just doing what she feels is the right thing. And Ilya in trade is doing what she thinks the right thing is. But for the first time, for real, killing Gidra, killing Callie, even put the sun out of his misery. This is what's being asked of you by some people that maybe don't have no business asking anything of you. But all they doing is just putting the work in as they do. Because I've always had my thoughts about Corsac and Fennec of what is it they ask of themselves. They just some psychos. Power-hungry psychos. It's like you'll do whatever you need to do to stay in power without actually having to do the work of being in power. Those people are everywhere. You got those who sitting up here like, I'm going to wait my turn. And that's Corsac and Fennec in a sentence. We going to wait our turn. We'll wait through this person, through that person, and we'll let y'all sit up here and do all the fighting. And we'll come through when we done, and we'll pick your bones, and we'll take what's left and usurp it. That's what they on. I don't need you to flat out in a sentence tell me where you at. I can see you. I see you as clear as glass. I see through you like I tell people all the time. I see through your ass like cellophane. I can see you. I see you, and that's what it is. What is it for real that Corsac and Fennec are asking of themselves? Nothing, because they too busy asking of others. Because you in a position where you have to ask nothing. You just know this is what needs to be done. We got somebody for that, yo. We need you to handle that over there. Because this question means nothing to us. Because again, we sitting up here, we playing it, we on a whole different chessboard. You sitting over here, you handle that business. You on the chessboard, just ain't nothing but pawns. No kings, no queens, no rooks, no bishops, nothing. Just a chessboard full of pawns. And you just another one. Get on up in there. Come on in. Because what is it that we ask of you? Put in this work. But the question is, do we think that Ilya is going to go through with this? I'm like, cause see, for real, the only thing that I've seen in Ilya, she ain't got the heart for it. This is probably not the wisest choice, because again, the thing that now, because we've introduced this question for about 20 minutes now, and introducing an understanding is, when that question and the answer you give it comes up against what you truly believe. And not even what you truly believe, but who you truly believe in. You have to wonder, does Ilya have what it takes to go get the job done? It's like you ain't got the question Corsac and Fennec. They gonna put in the work all day. That's what it is. It's like after Ilya left, some hawk dude came in. Yo, what's up, fool? Hey, oh, yo, did you go mark that fool? Yeah, of course, my dude, man. He ain't getting nowhere, fam. All day, Nathan. What do we ask of each other? Corsac and Fennec ain't got no problem finding somebody to go kill somebody. Cause, hey, man, yo, it's Tuesday. It's a day that ain't no why. Yo, mark that fool. Next, please. And that's what it is. So, we spent 20 minutes sitting up here asking the same question a different way, and how basic questions like that, when introduced into an episode that asks that same question over and over again, of how you get to these places. And that's why I love this show. I love the way that I come to these reviews, because it gives me an opportunity to introduce some reality in this fantasy that we watch, because this is stuff that people deal with every day. And to understand it from that type of point of view, I'm glad that's what I bring to the table for anybody that's willing to listen, to really give yourself something to really sit up here, consider, and think about. But yo, that is another episode of RWBY in the book. Plenty of work coming up. We got things going, and I got some work I need to do, and I should do that, and I will do that. So you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. The next time you guys will be hearing from me is we got Build and we got Q Ranger, so we always got that work, and anything else that comes out. There's some things that I know I need to get down and review, and I probably will real quick. So just be watching for all that. That's about it. I'm glad that we had this nice story time to sit up here and ask these questions to give you something necessary to think about. Go and get up out of here, y'all. You know what it is. It's the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. live where? On Team GRF TV. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining me for another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks On. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time, man. Peace out.